sayings and stories and such. There was a man who asked, how can I do this thing? And the other brought in a glass of muddy water and set it in front of him and walked out. Well, if you wait and patient and don't disturb the glass, the mud will settle out of its own accord, and you can drink what's left. Another I really like is about Buddha and the magic monkey. There was a magic monkey who thought so much of himself that he challenged the Buddha. And he said, let's see how far you can travel into the universe, and we'll see who can travel the furthest. And the Buddha said, okay, all right. You go first. And the monkey said, okay. And he took off, flying almost instantaneously deeper and deeper and farther into the universe, past stars and stars and suns and stars and planets. And finally he came to a place where he had to turn around. And so he wrote his name right there to show that how far he had gone. And he flew back to the Buddha and he said, okay, Buddha, now it's your turn. Let's see how far you can go. And the Buddha looked at him and stretched out his arm, opened up his hand, and there in the palm was the signature. The magic monkey was here. There are other functions within humans, and some functions can't appreciate other functions. The intellect is a overused function in some places, cultures, countries. The intelligence, everybody often thinks that one of the big things about humans is they have intelligence. But then why don't they develop the intelligence as much as they do the intellect? In practice, the intelligence just isn't developed all that much in some cultures. And yet, really, the intelligence, your intelligence is kind of like in the control room, and around it are all the meters and gauges and switches of all the functions. Your intellect is there, the function for logic, the function for hunger, the function for love, the function for sex, the organs of perception, of sight, sound, and other functions of perception that many overlook. Some refer to this area as mysticism or spirituality, some kind of unexplained or unexplainable. But the law of cause and effect is always present. This is overlooked. And so all these functions, the intelligence sitting in your control room, monitoring everything and can send out signals to this function or that function, or do this or do that, or go get food or whatever. But the intellect, it cannot comprehend it. It simply cannot replace the intelligence. But a lot of people think they are their intellect. Like Sartre with Je pense puisque je suis. You can get locked in your intellect for life and never experience all that there is. And in fact, a far greater area of experience and importance, just being in touch with the very source. Your intellect just can't do it. How about the comment that this is a journey within a journey, learning how to learn. Each waterhole is more attractive than the last. Each oasis more interesting and seductive than the last. So many take up permanent residency in one or the other, going along somewhere, getting hung up. So where does it end? How do you know if you're hung up? There are methods for developing the intellect. Well, there's methodology and methods for developing other functions of perception and other functions that are possible to activate, to develop, and thereby accomplish something with those, used in conjunction with everything else. And people go, oh yeah, okay, oh great, that's great, I'm good to hear that. Well, do you know what they are? I mean, are you going to ask? Are you going to look around and try and figure that one out? Maybe it's not something to think about. Maybe it's something you got to do. Got to become. Instead of involving just the intellect, the rest of the physiology. How about the one story where a man found a magic ring, and when he put it on his finger, he became the man he was before he found the ring? Is this meant to be a mind teaser? In a way. Also, in a way, not. I was having a conversation with a fellow one day, and he asked me, do you believe? And I'm going, geez, how am I going to answer from what his assumptions sound like? Let me think how to respond. And by that time he said, it's either yes or no. And now I realized how convinced he was that it was black and white, one or the other. And I'm sure to anybody listening, they would have probably assumed that that was the case. But I kind of gingerly said, well, maybe there's something else here. And to his credit, he said, what do you mean? And I said, do you believe in ice cream? And he goes, yeah, sure. I said, have you had ice cream? He said, yeah. And I said, well then, it's no longer a matter of belief then, is it? But that only opens a door. If you don't walk through the door that has been opened for you and go exploring, what's the difference whether the door was opened or not? And is it so easy then? Because if you leave even one line tied from your ship to the dock, how will you ever sail off into the ocean? But when you look up and you see the ocean stretching out before you, blue, glistening in the sunlight, you become transfixed, and you're pushing down the lever, and you're steaming off into the ocean, forgetting about the line you left attached to the dock, which never existed in reality. It was just in your mind. Many people say they want a teacher. The universe is teaching constantly. When will you learn how to listen? Then how to respond. There was a fellow, really a complete idiot, and one day he was on his hands and knees in the street looking for something when his friends came up and said, what are you doing? And he said, I'm looking for my glasses. And they said, okay, well, we'll help. And they got down and they were looking around, and someone said, well, where did you lose them? Where did you last have them? And he says, in my kitchen. And he goes, what? In your kitchen? What are you doing out here? And he said, there's more light out here. Someone else said, the door to your cell is open. Why do you stay inside? Where's the door? Where's the cell? Another one was, if silence is genuinely inside you, it will bring you what you need. Live in silence. A man is almost insignificant in the universe. But not totally. That's important. Internally, he is just as small in an internal universe that's just as vast. Where is the door to be found? Someone does know. There are other images and languages with various types of reference. One is oneness. Who's the potter and who's the pot? The fusion becomes one. Buddha's Lotus Sutra. Why the lotus flower so chosen? The seed is there simultaneously with the petals of the flower. They're one at the same time. In Japan, they have the terminology, the Inga Giji and the Inga Guji. Inga Giji is the law of cause and effect. And you know this. You swing a bat, hits the ball flies off. Cause and effect. Well, the other, the Inga Guji, is the simultaneity of cause and effect. And it's sometimes referred to as the mystic law of cause and effect. Simultaneity, again, of the cause and the effect. Simultaneous. What is this? What is this? In an area like this, using your intellect, you pose a question. What is the square root of 2? There's a method you can derive your answer and you can get it. 1.414 and you got your answer, right? Well, in this other area, how do you learn? How do you go about questioning, inquiring? Well, one might think of it as becoming your question. And the answer comes in a different form. You become the answer. There was a exhortation that said, don't just stand there, sit down and do something. All these things they're often cherished sayings and stories, and they're framed and put on people's walls, and they're worshipped and all manner of things. But they're supposed to be eaten. You're supposed to eat them, chew them up a little bit and swallow. Let your digestive tract take over. Take out the nutrients. Send it into your bloodstream, into every cell in your body.